What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Take Time Out with Tre Mosley. I am Tre Mosley, and today we have a very special guest. We on some town business today. And if you're from the Bay Area, you know what that means. She is a home girl of the Bay Area, now residing in San Francisco, but she's from the Oak Town. You know, she's still connected to the culture. But we have my good friend, my sis, Miss Trekina White, is on the show today. What's happening?
Yay! Represent.
Round of applause.
Yay, area.
See, I know nothing about that, but they know all about that.
Hey.
What's going on, lady?
I am so excited to be here. Remember, I told you, since we're going to be doing this in the evening, this is going to be the wine down. I have got my wine because I am
You know
down.
what? It is, I always say, when it's your dime, it's your time. So this is your time right now. You already taking time out. I do not have wine. I have H to the O. It's a, it's a fan favorite.
Keeps you hydrated. Got to stay hydrated.
I put my pinky up. You know what I'm saying?
Stay hydrated.
That's right. But before we begin, if you haven't heard her voice, and I'm sure you have, take a look at this clip.
Uh-oh. Here, let me help you. There you go. Oh. Why, thank you, Spidey. You're welcome.
Dylan?
Quick! Get Doc!
Oh my God! What happened?
I'm sorry. We needed propane.
It's okay, baby. Doc's coming.
Shit. Look at him. Marlena, there's no... I don't think Doc is...
I've been practicing with her in my backyard. She loves it. Whoa, Bootsy! Stop! Hey, Kitty! Ooh, oh my! Bootsy, no, that's not your yarn.
That's all right, dear. Cats love to play with yarn.
Whoa! I guess cats love to play with tennis balls too. Bye!
Bye-bye.
A new preschool show from the world of Craig of the Creek.
Jessica's big little world.
Jessica may look like a little kid.
What I'm trying to say is, she's a great little kid. Little kid.
You're not small, you're huge.
But she's gonna be big.
I can handle it. I'm ready to be a big kid. See?
She's got a big imagination.
Hey, I look good when I'm big.
We sure do, honey.
To help her navigate her big world.
The big kid playground. Come on!
She's got this.
Big kid time, Jessica. Yeah!
And when she doesn't, her friends and family are there to help.
Sometimes being a big kid just means finding another way.
That's my girl.
I'm proud of you.
I don't want to be small Jessica anymore. I want to be big Jessica.
She won't be small for long. Jessica's Big Little World. New show.
That's such a...
You know, you have the versatility to pull off so many different reads. You know, you just played a 65-year-old grandmother. Then you played we'll assume between 30 and 40-year-old, not soccer mom, but hockey mom. That doesn't happen often, especially with, folk that look like us.
Mhm.
And, and then, your commercial reads from the one where it's all syrupy and romantic. And then you have that very emotional and powerful read that comes out of you. It's really something that a lot of people try to grasp and say, man, I can't nail the commercial read because I can't relate to the copy, or how do you sound that way? Let's go back to a young Trekina, way back in 19. Were you always well, I know you, so I can ask this without
Uh-huh.
any bias because you're a bit of a chatty Cathy.
I am.
Were you
I am.
always a chatty Cathy growing up?
No, I would say not. I always tell you that I'm a closeted introvert. Remember, I'm always telling you that. Like, boy, you know, I'm a closeted introvert. Um, I was shy growing up, and it took a while to come out of my shell. It took a while for me to um, find things that I like, and you know, a group of friends that I like that I felt comfortable being myself with. And so I absolutely loved Saturday morning cartoons and my doll babies. Do people still say doll babies,
I,
Trey?
you,
Do they
you
still
know,
say doll?
I've never owned one, so I can't say. But let's go with that though. I mean, so um, are you the youngest?
No, I'm the middle child.
Oh
So I
my.
have older sisters and I have younger sister. But yeah, I was the middle baby. So you know that whole not feeling like you fit in here because
Hmm.
you can't really run with the older ones, but then you don't want to run with the baby, right? Because that's not cool. So no, I'm the middle child.
You middle children, I tell you.
Us middle children are the bomb. Look at us.
Almost had an accident, but we're good. The light did not fall, and I'm still alive. That's great.
That's
So being the middle child, you got to experience what the older sibling had to go through, what the
Mhm,
younger sibling had to go through. Um, with those experiences, especially with the type of auditions and things that you get, the characters that you create.
mhm.
Have you pulled from personal experiences and say, my sister used to act like this, so I know an old lady who used to sound like this or act like this. Like, where do you pull? What's in your toolbox, your VO toolbox that you pull that's a reference to the past?
Wow, absolutely. You know what? I still pull just from everything that's around me. And I think that's what all of us good voice actors do, right? Because, I wasn't born a voice actor, so I had to work a 9 to 5. I worked for AT&T. I worked for AT&T back when it was still called what? We went from Pac Bell to SBV to
Uh,
SBC. Sorry, SBV is a
SBC,
agency. SBC, and then went to AT&T, and now that's stuck. So I worked for them for a while. So of course, you know how you have that boss sometimes that just be working that last nerve
yeah.
and the one in reserve, you know. So, and when I have a read like that where I have to resonate with somebody like that who's just getting on you for no reason and they're getting on your nerve, I could pull from those bosses who did that when you 30 seconds late and you're like, well, dang, I had to get my baby to school and I had to go and find parking and I had to make sure I had a
And
jack
they
of all
ain't trying to hear
trades.
it either.
Yeah, they certainly are not. So, you anything. My very last job before I started to do VO full time was a government job working at the Section 8 office. For those of you who don't know, the Section 8 office, you're working with low income individuals and you're trying to help them find housing. I worked at the Housing Authority. Very rewarding job, right? Because I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Any one of those people could have been my auntie, my cousin, my uncle, that they just wanted to be treated with dignity. But you got some knuckleheads that come in there that
Mm-mm.
oh, so there was a lot of I remember I used to have this woman and she had this deep, raspy voice, and she would come in, hey, Trekina, I ain't taking my diabetes medicine yet, and I need to eat something with it. And so here's she would have this Jack in the Box greasy sandwich, greasy breakfast. She would throw it on top of it. And I'm like, no, she didn't. This is a pace of business. Well, I got to take my medication, Miss White. Come on, stop playing with me. But so you always have all these different characters. I say that working at housing really helped me with fodder for different personalities and characters
I
that I
can
could.
imagine. My mom taught school forever,
Yeah.
and I as I got older, especially when I was still back in Florida, I would go and sometimes meet her up to the school and just walking through the hallways. And I'm talking about the elementary kids, the
Mhm.
conversations at such a young age, and you may have that young lady or that young guy who is starting to mature faster than everybody else. So you're in the hallway and you're like, yeah, man, I saw her. She looking good today. And I'm looking around like, oh, that was you? Who you looking for, man? I'm like, I ain't looking for you. I'm looking for Miss Mosley. Oh, she down the hall, man. I could take you down there. I'm like, nah, bro, I got it. I'm like, how old are you? I'm 9. Oh, okay. You
No,
know,
more than a little bit, huh?
I'm
Just
telling you. But I do that too. When I'm out and about, sometimes I will sit there with my eyes closed, and people may think I'm napping or asleep, but I'm listening.
Mhm.
And if I hear a certain dialect or accent, I will kind of turn my ear and get that bionic man. I'm focusing
Mhm.
like, that's pretty cool. And
Mhm.
now I'm walking or driving, mumbling to myself in that accent, trying to mimic it as best I can. And sometimes when you're creating a character or you're
Yeah.
trying to mimic someone, even if you don't nail it 100%, you still created a character. It
Mhm.
may be reminiscent of that person. Doesn't always have to be 100% because that's how you can say, well, you know what? Somebody may email you and say, can you do I'm trying to think of can you do a Taraji Henson? And maybe you can't do it 100%. And you give it a go, and you're like, yeah, I can't really match her. Maybe today ain't my day. But you go back and listen, like, but that'd be a nice kind of sister girl read. Let me keep that one in the Rolodex in case
Mm.
I need to pull it out. Do you find yourself doing that often in your travels?
I do. I think one of the best things is to people watch. I love people watching. And there's so many times when we'll go down to San Francisco and we'll be down on the Embarcadero or by the bridge, and we will watch people from the street vendors to the homeless to the people who are selling. I mean, just anything. All of the people, and I love people watching and listening to what they're talking about. I love listening to their cadence, the pitch, the pace, the tone, all of that, because it's all things that we can put in our tool belt, like you said. So I absolutely love people watching because it makes me a better actor. You just mentioned Taraji P. Henson. Well, how many times do we get auditions and they'll be like, whatever
Uh-oh.
show is hot? Remember, I like when Insecure was hot, everybody wanted Issa Rae. Woman King came out, everybody wanted a Viola Davis. Everybody, so we get that all the time. But we're not supposed to exactly mimic them,
Mm-hmm.
but they want us to bring that type of energy,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's the type of energy that we're trying to bring. The Gabrielle Unions or the Issa Rays. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not that, but that resonated with me when they were in this role. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my version of that. Whatever it is that's gonna make me authentic. Because that's what we're selling, right? Is the authenticity and the
Mm-hmm.
confidence. And that comes through more than the actual product. There was a lot of people who came up to me after that Carter's commercial and they were just like, thank you, because I'm a mom and I be juggling so much stuff and I got so many balls up in the air. And there's times when I feel like I'm not doing nothing right. Right. But for you to tell me that I was enough and I really felt it,
Mm-hmm.
that they were like that. I had one person tell me I saw this thing over at Home Goods and it said you are enough, and I went and bought it because of that commercial. So, and that was really, really sweet. I mean, because I'm a mom and I have kids and trying to juggle all them plates in the air. So that writer, everything just came together.
Yeah,
And
you
it was
kind of you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to ask, as a mom,
yeah,
when you get those types of reads, do you say to yourself, "Oh, okay, they basically want me because I'm a mom. I got this,"
yeah,
um, and you prepare for that because you experience it every day.
yeah,
Could be, hey, can you drop me off here? Hey, mom, I need this. Hey, and you getting all these questions in your head or in your ear, and you respond accordingly. And you're like, you know what, that might work on this read. And you're like, yeah, how would I sound if I'm talking to my daughter? And you go, and the read comes out,
yeah.
and before you know it, you're like, yeah, I think I nailed that one.
Yeah.
Um, so let's shift gears. Let's actually downshift because, for every after, there's a before. So
Mhm.
give us some before. When did you realize that voiceover was a thing that you wanted to pursue? I know you've done some on stage stuff, uh, but when did you say, you know what, I think I want to transition from that to this? When did the bug bite you?
When did the bug bite me? Um, you know how they always say hindsight is 2020?
Hmm.
Because when I was telling you that I used to play with my doll babies and I had different voices for my dolls, back then. Not and but I just thought I was just playing, right?
Hmm.
Um, uh, watching those, like I said, those Saturday morning cartoons. And my dad loved Foghorn Leghorn. So we would play voices, doing stuff like that. I'll say, boy. I'll say. I'd be doing that with my daddy, that type of thing. I realized when I got older and I found my voice, because in high school I was like, on the cheerleading team and I was in student leadership, vice president of my class, all that type of stuff. When I started finding my voice then. So when I went to school for communications,
Hmm.
intern at the radio station for a while, and that was a lot of fun. But then realized I didn't want to be in radio because, whoo, it's a cutthroat business. So for all you guys who are in radio, God bless you. I really appreciate you and have so much respect for what you do. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun doing that. But life happened. I, had got married, got my kids, all that type of stuff. So I had to provide. But when they got older, I said, you know what? I really loved communications. I really loved having fun and reading copy when I was at the radio station. I really loved all that stuff. Let me go back to that
Hmm.
and see what it is that I want to do and how I can use that and parlay that. Started studying about voiceover. I have this friend, mutual friend. His name is Armand Newton, as you know.
Yeah.
And Armand, was at the time on the on-court MC for the Clippers. And he was telling me, well, you might want to do voiceover. And they're having this conference. It's going to be in LA at Anaheim. And it was called something like Voice 2014 or something
Yes,
like that.
I recall the voice.
Yeah. Did you go to that one?
I did not go to that. I got into the conference game. I went to the very first. For me, my very first conference was That's Voiceover in
Mhm.
2013. I did not go to Voice because at that time I was broken, could not be flying everywhere. So I had to pick and choose what conferences I went to.
My, how things have changed.
Hmm.
My, how well, yeah, no, he told me about that. And I was like, I didn't even know about that, right? So I went there, and when I tell you it changed my life, I was like, oh, I found my tribe. Like, oh,
Okay, Cole.
right, because these people were like me. You know how sometimes when you're growing up and you're doing all those voices and you're being silly, and your mama might turn around and be like, "Girl, stop acting so silly. Stop being so silly. Stop acting so."
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God, these people are like me and they're having fun like me and they're going in these different voices and they're finding joy and, like all this type of stuff. And I was like, this is amazing. I started networking my behind off. I was like, and how do you do this? And, reading these different books and doing this and doing that. And okay, well, how do I find a demo producer? How do I find a coach? Well, how do I find this? I mean, I just, and soaked everything up, went to the YouTube University
Yep.
like a lot of us do,
Yep.
and then the school of Google, and between those two things, started finding more and more people, and then I started finding people that I absolutely loved in different genres because. There's different people who have that sports read that's like freaking amazing. Like, oh, Andia's sports read, Andia Winslow. Oh, I love her. Watch Chef Kiss. Mary Juno, love her, right? And she's in all these different video games. And, she's multi hyphenated. She's got so much stuff that she's doing. But
Hmm.
different people who I started finding where I was like, I could do that too. And there is room for my voice too. And I could bring my own flavor to it. And I could just be me. And when I started being more comfortable being me, instead of trying to mimic anybody else, I started booking a lot more.
I think that's important. You know, when you first get into this industry, into this business, um, sometimes it's hard to find your voice.
Yeah.
You listen to someone that may have a close voice pattern to yours. So then you kind of get entrapped and go onto their website and listen to all this stuff. Man, they sound just like me. I could probably sound like them. But then you realize, well, they're already there.
Yeah.
So there's no need to sound like them if they're still here.
Yeah.
The more you start to focus on yourself, and then you realize, you know what? I remember um, there was a contest.
Mhm.
And the contest, if you won, you got a chance to go to VO Atlanta for free. And I remember one passage that I wrote. I said, there's so many people out there trying to be the next, whoever the top VO person is. I said, I just want to be the first Tre Mosley. Because
Mhm.
that's all I know how to be.
Yeah.
You know, I someone can say, yeah, man, you can be the next, James Earl Jones. Well, we already got him. You can be the
Yeah.
next Dave Fanoy. Well, we already got him, even though I can mimic him pretty well. And I will not.
You mimic Dave so good. Oh my God.
Uh, don't you tell him that. But
And you're Keith David.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So I have these people in my head, but
Yeah.
you know, they're alive and well and thriving and working.
Yeah.
I need to worry about being the first me.
Yeah.
And once I started to do that, and you kind of, it's like watching Iron Man. He's building his armor. Once you start building your armor and putting it on, you're like, all right, this what we got. Let's go get them. Good things happen. Um, so let's regroup. So you are juggling between being the mama, working with
Mhm.
all the folks at HUD,
The housing authority.
trying
All
to
our
get them
cousins.
houses. And how were you uh balancing working there, and all of a sudden you look at your phone and it's like, I booked it, but I'm still at work. How
Mhm.
did you handle those situations when you would have to find a way, like, all right, do I miss this booking? What am I gonna do? Because my job is paying me pretty nice, but that's gonna be nice if I go do this job. How are you able to balance that and make it all work?
Ooh, I used a lot of sick days. Oh my God. I know they was like, this girl ain't never healthy. She need to get on some vitamin C or some echinacea or some some elderberry or something. Cause I used a lot of sick time. I used a lot of vacation time. There was times when I would schedule bookings on my lunch hour. And thank God that I lived close enough. I lived about 15, 20 minutes away from the job.
Oh,
So if
that's
it was
perfect.
something quick, then I could
Mhm.
hurry up. I could go home. I could do that booking for an hour. And then I had a home girl in the office, right, who worked the reception. So I was like, yo, is Bruce back in the office yet? Our boss, Bruce. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
lookouts.
right. She was my lookout. I was like, is he okay? If he's not, because I'm gonna be late. She goes, okay, and I'll tell him you already here. Because it's not like we had to punch in and then I would sneak in through the bag and do all that type of stuff. Even auditions was tough because you're working the 9 to 5 during the day. And then, I was coming home and I was helping with homework. And, I have girls, so they got a lot of hair. I was helping with hair, helping with anything that they needed,
Mhm.
cooking, cleaning, this and that. And then I would have to do my audition. So I was maybe getting about 4 hours of sleep at night and then rinse, repeat, and doing it all over again. I was hustling, but it was a labor of love
Mhm.
because we love what we do so much that it was so there was times when I knew that I was ready to leave work, but I was like, okay, this is funding the dream right now because I do not have it like that to do this full time. I'm not making enough money to do voiceover full time. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I had to wrap my mind around, I got to stay here and do what I got to do until I can do what I want to do. But it was a struggle. I'm telling you, I used up all my time and everything. And then when I was really about to leave, I ended up going out on stress for a minute. I was like, I just need some time to do this. Well, they was acting crazy too at the job.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it the universe. I call it God. I call it Jesus. So, God has a way of making you see, okay, this door is not for you anymore. This is not where you're supposed to be. You need to go and do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I would be there. And then when the clients started getting more crazy and outlandish and entitled, and then when my coworkers started acting up, I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. Some other girl had went out on stress, and I was like, you know what? Let me try and go out on stress and see if I could do this full time for a while. So I did. I went out on stress, and when I was doing it full time, I was like, wow, I absolutely love this. But I was scared to take the step, right? So they told me, well, you can come back and just work 4 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. I got back. I'm telling you, day one, because you know this story because I was on the phone with you when I did
Mm-hmm.
it was day one. I come back. They hadn't worked on any of my cases. They left all this stuff from me. There was all kinds of just craziness and chaos that I was coming back to. And I was like, you know what? I quit.
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm
I
out.
quit. I left. Peace out. So I came and then I started doing this full time and had not looked back. But at that point, I had about 9 to 10 months of mortgage payments set aside in the bank. And, I had enough stuff to float me through so that, because, this is a business of peaks and valleys.
Highs and
So
lows.
that,
Amen.
yeah, for famine. So that when I was, in those low points where I wasn't booking or times were slow or what have you, okay, I got some money to fall back on. So, because, your family still got to eat. Bills still got to be paid. They still coming in each and every month like clockwork. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, by that time I had saved up enough money and I said, okay, I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Let's go. And I remember calling you and I was like, I just quit.
Nervous. I don't know what to do now. I'm like, just go do it. You have taken the first step.
Yeah.
It's the cliche of standing and looking over that cliff like, there's the waterfall. And I know if I take this plunge, I know the water's there, but I'm scared to leap. And then as soon as you land, it's like, it feels good.
But it took me a minute because working, I was used to getting a check every 2 weeks. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
That first 2 weeks, and that check didn't show up, and I was like, "Oh Lord, did I make the right decision?" And then when I quit, it was December 2019. COVID happened. What, first quarter
Of 2020.
2020? So I was like, "Oh my God!" But you know what? COVID really leveled the playing field for us voice actors. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It
Absolutely.
really leveled the playing field for us because you couldn't go in the studio. So you had to work from home and you had to get up on what you needed to do so
And a
that you could
lot of
record.
people were not ready to work
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah.
So they had
So,
to cast a wider net and they pulled you in, they pulled me in, they pulled a whole
yeah.
bunch of people who, they had that one lake that they could just and there's so and so and there's so and so. And all of a sudden, what do you mean we can't go to the lake today? Sorry. Well, like the Gordon's fishermen throw the whole net out there and
Yeah.
they start pulling us in.
Because you and I weren't in those major cities where you could just run into a studio and doing that. We weren't in LA.
Nope.
We weren't in New York. We weren't
Nope.
in, so we had to do it from home. And then things really started taking off. So I was like, wow. I mean, I know we in a pandemic right now, but this kind of working because these people are coming to me and recognizing, okay, there are other voices out there besides the old reliables that we go to all of the time. So I think
Absolutely.
it leveled the playing field for a lot of voice actors.
Cool. So now we we have our beginning where she hadn't in the car like tonight on ABC, sneaking doing auditions and stuff. And
I show
then,
up with the card in conference rooms.
so we go from sneaking in the bathrooms or sneaking in the car or driving to the house. You get to a point to where you're like, you know what, this job is for the birds. I'm done. And now you wake up that next morning and you're like, all right, I'm a voice actor. And
Yeah.
not just for a few hours, but all day. And the next day it's gonna be all day. And the next, like, I'm doing this. Like, the first, let's say 72 hours that you realize you were not going back, and now you have this new future in front of you. You know, and I know you called me a few times, but when you were in those moments with yourself, and sometimes when we sit with ourselves, especially embarking on things related to VO, uh, you'll either have the naysayers, you'll have the doubters, or you may naysay and doubt yourself. Like, how did you prepare mentally and say, you know what, you made this choice, so now you got to stick with it because that door is closed and you can't go back. All you have is the road that's being paved for you ahead. Take us through that.
Yeah, it was either sink or swim, right? You said you wanted to do this, so let's go, baby. You better do it. Um, Having a good community of folks around me like yourself and like some of my other friends that were in the business who could give me advice on what it was like when you guys first went full time helped me out tremendously. So having that support system to help you, especially when you're doubting yourself or you're feeling like you have imposter syndrome, huge. Like I said, I had to get used to, like, okay, I'm not going to be getting a check every 2 weeks anymore. So I got to hustle. And like I said, I made the leap December 2019. I'm just now being like, when somebody goes, well, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a voice actor. And it's
You
amazing,
stick your chest out and like, do you know?
right?
Have you heard me on this? Or they go, what have I
I'm,
heard you on?
I'm
Well,
a voice actor. I was in the drive-through at Dutch. Do you have Dutch Brothers out there?
we do.
Okay, you have Dutch Brothers. So for those who don't, it's like a Starbucks drive-through, but they have other stuff. They have smoothies and they have this and that. So I'm going to Dutch Brothers to get a smoothie, and they're making small talk, and they go, "Well, how's work today? What do you do for work?" Just making small talk. And I remember that was like you said, within that 72-hour period after I left, and I went, "I'm a voice actor,"
a,
and
a
it was
revelation hit you.
yes, I'm a voice actor. And they said, I'm sorry, you're a what? Do you ever get that? I'm sorry, you're a what?
Yeah.
I'm a voice actor. And they're like, shut up. We wasn't ready for you to say that. Like, we wasn't ready for that answer. We thought you
Hmm.
was running here on your lunch break to pick up a smoothie or something like that. But that's the beautiful thing, right? Because we can create our schedule. Time
Yes.
management has to be top notch and on point because a lot of times we're on call, right?
Hmm.
So, like for myself, I map out my day the night before. I map out what auditions are due when, what might I need to stay up and do later on tonight because I'm in California, but on the East Coast, they want that by 6 a.m. their time. And I ain't waking up at 4 a.m. Then
No.
I'll be sounding like Barry White instead of Trekina White. So let me make sure that I get this. But we're always, trying to do that. And then there's times when we think, okay, today is kind of slow. I can get some other stuff done or some administrative work done or some stuff done around the house. And then you get a call. I don't know how many times I've been on the phone with you and you're like, oh, the NBA call. They need. And I
It's
was on lunch and I had to hurry up and leave lunch so I could go
mhm.
back to the house. And yeah, there's a lot of times we're on call. But what a blessing, right? Because it's amazing. Like going back to that commercial that I did,
Yeah.
I got to record in studio in San Francisco that day. It happened to be a gorgeous day in San Francisco. My daughter was home from school, so she came with me, but she went like to the bookstore or something like that. When I was done, we walked the city, we went and had lunch, we people watched, we did whatever we wanted to do, and I kept thinking to myself, this is amazing. I worked for 2 hours in gorgeous San Francisco, and I
And now
get to
you got the whole day to
I
just.
got to spend the rest of the day with my daughter because I had just did a paid booking. It was, so
Hmm.
it was just amazing. And so I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. I can empathize or look at some copy and now to the point where I can just dissect it. Because when you first look at copy and you're like, oh my God, what do I do with it? Sort of thing. But
Hmm. Yeah.
now we find that thing that resonates with us. Like they might be talking about, what don't I like? I don't like calamari. I don't like calamari. And it seems like every time I go out, somebody is like, oh, let's order the calamari. Ugh, calamari is chewy, it's nasty, it's this and that.
It's
So if
actually.
they're talking about ordering calamari in the script, I
Hmm.
might replace that for shrimp because I love me some shrimp. But we do whatever we have to do, right?
Yeah.
So that, for that copy. So they say, I'm saying calamari, but I'm thinking, that would be some good
You
shrimp.
thinking shrimp. You thinking
Right?
gumbo. Yes.
Do what we have to do. So, but yeah, that's a long answer. I'll be giving you long answers.
That's okay. I knew what I was getting into. It's all
Yeah.
right. So how do your daughters so for me, I know my family, it took a while for them to understand
Yeah.
um what I do. My mom in particular, they sometimes our elders, bless their heart, they don't fully grasp what it is. Uh, to my mom, well, now she can distinguish a promo from a commercial because
Oh,
when I first started NVO, she's like, "Hey, I heard your commercial." I'm like, I'm thinking, I don't have any commercials running. I'm like, what you
mhm,
hear? You
mhm.
was on ABC about Nightline. I'm like, that's a promo. Well, yeah, that the commercial. I'm like,
No, she heard her baby on TV. That's what she
yeah,
know.
that was it. It didn't matter.
Mhm.
Now, like when I talk to my sister, and she's like, yeah, they just ran your spot. I'm like, what did you say? Well, yeah, that's what y'all call
Whoa.
them, right? Because I hear you always saying, "Well, yeah, I got this spot." I did. I'm like, look, so they're learning the lingo because
Yes.
now they have such an interest into it. I have a commercial that's running now and has been running for about 2 years. Thank you so
Mm,
much. And she'll text me, "Hey, your spot just ran." I'm like,
yeah.
"Look at that, your spot! Oh, stop
Ah,
it!"
look at you using the lingo.
Right.
And the elders too, because you need to get a good job with them good benefits and stay
Yeah.
on there for 30 years so you could get that pension and you could so I remember hearing that from my parents for the longest
We
time.
all did.
Yeah, for the longest time. But my father also had an entrepreneurial spirit. So once he got to the top notch, he was the very first Black postmaster ever.
All right,
In
now Black History.
all right, all right. So I was like, okay, daddy, look at you. But once he had made it to the top leadership in his career, he left and started his own business.
Hey,
So
that's what
I
you
had
do.
saw that it could be done, you know. But he did what he had to do so he could do what he want to do. But yeah, you're right. When you talk about the elders and them not understanding, they're like, They didn't believe in job hopping either. I used to have a friend, a cousin
Oh,
who would
yes.
job hop all the time. She better stop doing all that job hopping and burning them bridges. She ain't, she ain't gonna have no retirement, no medical, no pension.
Yeah, they really they but you also have to realize, there's I have a poster in here. I haven't hung it up on the wall yet, but it basically says that I am my ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a position that not even that long, not even 50 years ago,
Mhm.
um, I can't recall uh any black voice actors. When I was growing up and when you were growing up, you had all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons,
Yeah.
you had Flintstones, Jetsons, and as an adult, when you go back and look at the cast, um, it was a lot of milk and no chocolate.
Yeah.
So if you think about your parents' generation and my parents' generation. You either went to college,
Mm-hmm.
got a vocation, went to the service,
Mm-hmm.
worked in the service industry. So when jobs like this come about and they don't understand it because you're not working that 9 to 5,
Yeah.
um, they don't fathom. Like, I remember when I was telling my sister, told my sister the first time I went over 6 figures, and I'm like, yeah, I made it. She's like, what? Just
Yeah.
from doing that? I'm like, yeah. I
Yeah.
said,
My
and
big
one,
sister still can't believe that I make a living at this. She just told me the other day, I still can't believe you make a living doing
and
this.
yeah, and it's you feel a sense of like, I'm glad that you're still here, that I can share this with you.
Mhm.
Um, it's a sense of pride, especially for people of color, and people are starting to recognize us more
Yes.
as equals.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of these brands are giving us opportunities. They're still light years behind, but at least
Yeah.
now you have some that have proven some type of alliance. It's like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm a yeah, let's give such and such a shot, and that kind of thing. Um, so I think for them, like you said, or like we said, is so and so making good money as a pool porter on Amtrak. I'm like, well, that's good. I just did a commercial for Amtrak, and
Oh, right?
it's like that's the counter.
Yeah.
Like, well,
My daddy used to want me to work for the water company so bad. They got good jobs at the water company. You need to go on down to the water company.
like, what is going
Work
on
for that.
at the water company?
At the water company. That's where he wanted me.
You're gonna end up doing a commercial for some type of utility if you haven't
Right.
already. Like,
I have
see, there you go.
for the
So,
for the power company.
in essence, you kind of did work for for them, just
Yeah,
not for them, but for them. It's a
yeah,
difference.
exactly.
Let's hop on to, I know, something that's near and dear to you because you've been wanting to do it, and now you're getting more opportunities, and that's animation. You have been you've been on Netflix series. You
Mhm.
are with Spidey and his amazing friends. You're starting to get your name out there in the animation arena. How does that feel?
That feels amazing because even though I love commercials are near and dear to my heart. Ooh, I love telling you a story with an arc in 60 seconds or less. So that I absolutely love them. But I have all of this, I don't know, I don't know if I call it silliness, and it's not really silliness, but I just have all of these things in me that I want to let out. And a lot of times when you get to animation, you can do that. And it's so much fun, especially watching like Saturday morning cartoons. So when I got to do Spidey, that was amazing because Spider Man's been around how many years? And now there's all these new iterations of it to keep
Hmm.
it relevant for the current generations. And so Spidey and his amazing friends was so cute. And I went to LA and I did that in studio. And, the people who were directing me were on Zoom. So they're like, oh, I'm so and so, and I'm with this creative management, and I'm so and so, and I'm with this. And when I got to, hi, I'm Mike, and I'm with Marvel. Oh my God, you could have knocked me over
That,
without.
yeah, that'll hit you. That will hit you.
You're with Marvel? I was like, oh my God. I didn't hear nobody else. Everybody else who introduced himself, it was just like, wah, 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 wah. I said, that boy said he was with Marvel. Woo! Mama, I'm in the room with Marvel.
That's when you know it's real.
That was something else. And then they showed the picture and what the character was going to be doing. And you know how you do your pre-life before you do it and
Hmm.
make it more yours and this, and it just was amazing and blew my mind. So being able to do that I did this cutest little show, which look, now that the strike is over, I can say on Netflix, called Ridley Jones, and it's like Indiana Jones meets Night at the Museum, but for animation. It's super, super cute. And she even has her little fedora hat on and she's going through the museum and all the little characters are coming alive at night. And that was so much fun. I got to be this Mama Stegosaurus dinosaur and play around and
That
be
was so
silly and
hilarious.
goofy. And oh my God, that's my baby. My babies and my aunties and
Yes, your baby.
but it was so much fun. So yeah, I really want to do more of that. And now they're having so many cartoons for people of color so that
Yes.
everybody's represented, So I mean, there was this cute Indian cartoon on the other day that my daughter was watching, and I was like, that is amazing. And there are voice actors, authentic voice actors that are doing that. I just did my first promo.
Yeah. How about
But
that?
for Cartoon Network, and
Welcome to
it was
my
for the
world.
show called Jessica's Big Little World. I know, I've been trying to get
I
my
know.
toe in your world for a minute doing that. And I was like, Trey, I want to do it. I could do it too. I could do promo.
And I told you, I'm like, because I know you had a few auditions and you were like, they keep sending me. I said, hey, the fact that they keep sending you,
Yeah,
it just means you're on the radar now. Just because they didn't pick you doesn't mean you're not good. You just wanted to fit. But when I have such a love hate with movie trailer auditions
I know.
because that's so sad because everybody knows it. That's so sad. She's like, I know. Like already
I know. We talk a
she's
lot.
counseling me like they're there now. They're there. Tell us about what makes you feel so traumatized. Because I know that given the opportunity that I could just take it to the moon.
Yeah.
I've done a movie trailer for radio, and
Hmm.
that's cool. And I am not knocking at all. But
Yeah.
every voice actor, some will admit it and some will not. We have just a little smidgen of vanity. And it
Yeah.
feels good when you're watching something and you're clicking through and you see your spot and you're like, let me just look at me for a second. And it ain't even look at me, it's let me just hear me for a second. I was playing Madden today, and you know, even though I'm sitting right here and I'm playing the game and I can hear myself going, we got an AFC West matchup between, and I'm like, that's me.
What?
It's
That's me. That's me. Oh my God, that's me. Oh my God. My daughters and I were going to the movies. We're walking through the movie theater, finding our seats, right? I did a spot for Gold Peak Tea. My
I
commercial comes
remember
on.
those. Yeah.
My
Oh, in
commercial
the
comes
theater?
on in the movie
So you
theater.
getting 300 watts of just
Yes, hun, in IMAX, right? Like I was just like, oh my God. We were walking to our seat, and when I tell you we stopped, like, and we went, oh my God, that commercial was on this. And we couldn't even get out our phones fast enough because we were just shocked. It's such a surreal moment.
have
And I
they
never get tired of it. It's just amazing. I'm always grateful and humbled and just feel blessed because I'm like, wow, like it's amazing.
it is. Have the
Yeah.
girls had that that's my mom moment?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's really funny. My daughter called a Uber the other day, and when she was in her Uber, they must have been a fancy Uber because they had like some type of iPad or screen or something on there. She was watching something. And why were they running my Uber commercial in the Uber? And she sends me a screen. She recorded it. She was like, "Look, Mama, I'm in the Uber, and your commercial for Uber is in the Uber."
Yeah,
That was
you
something.
can't
So
you
we
can't
do. We
beat
get excited.
you
Yeah. Or
can't
if
beat
we're
that
listening
at
to
all.
Pandora and a commercial comes on for Pandora, and it's cool. I love that my kids can see that I am doing something that I love. that I am following my passion and my dreams,
Mhm.
that I took the time to get trained and educated in it, right? Because the training and the coaching for us never stops.
No.
We're always, working with somebody or training with somebody. Our good friend Keisha Monk puts it best. She says, shoot, LeBron James has a coach, Serena Williams has a coach.
And
What makes us think?
they
Yeah,
practice every day.
exactly. So we still need to constantly practice. So I love showing them that dancing in your passion is possible. So
Oh,
go out and
shoot.
do what you have to do so that you can dance in your passion too. I love showing them that. I do.
Well, that's
That
good.
feels, yeah, like a huge accomplishment.
Such a good mom.
I tried.
So, at the end of the show, as you know, this show is called Take Time Out. We like
Mhm,
to ask our guests, uh, how do they take time out
mhm.
when the mics are put away and the studio is closed and you've taken off the VO hat and now you're just Trekina. So I ask you, Trekina White, what do you do to take time out for yourself?
What do I do? Well, I like good wine. So we're always discovering these different wineries, which is really, really dope. We discovered one the other day where it's on a waterfront and people actually come with their wetsuits and they jump in the water and they water ski and they get on paddle boats and they have food trucks come and then they hop out the water and they come out and they drink the wine. So I mean, and then there's some where they have all these different shows and you can actually bring the family. So there's family oriented ones. So wineries have really evolved to just being the kind of the stuffy, upper crust, unaffordable type of thing like
And
that.
your
So
lips
yes.
all pursed.
Mhm,
You have to have
mhm.
a certain palate for this. It's a
Yes, you smell it.
Chablis.
There's notes of vanilla and
This, this is a Rosencrantz from the
yes, these
16th
grapes were
century.
bruised.
Yeah.
These are California Napa wine grapes. So no, but love going to wineries. Love spending time with my family and us having movie nights. And the weather's getting colder now, but we would put up the projector in the backyard. We have a pool, and we would get popcorn and make sliders and candy and project movies up outside and watch them outside. And that is so much fun. I love family time. I love hiking. So going hiking with my friends. Lately I've joined this Iron Man workout group that I've been doing lately. And so discovering lifting weights, and that's been a lot of fun.
Oh, you get
I'm,
cut up.
I'm telling you, all kinds of stuff where that just makes me smile. I'm gonna do this new thing that's gonna scare the crap out of me, but it's nighttime zip lining.
Oh.
So they have like neon lights, and you don't know where you're going outside. And I'm a
Oh, okay.
little
Oh.
afraid of the heights,
Hmm.
we're gonna
Mm.
do it. So it's in this town called Sausalito, but we're gonna go to Sausalito and go
Oh.
nighttime zip lining. I just love fun stuff. I love amusement parks. I love walks on the beach and good conversation.
I love, I love reading poetry from leather-bound books.
Yes, exactly. With some port and a good cigar. Like
Bless your entire heart. Mm,
I'm silly. I call you so many times. You're like a
I
brother to
know.
me.
I'm,
You're
I'm
like,
like,
oh
what adventures are we going to take with this phone call?
I am telling you. Oh my God, how many times have I called you and you're like, girl, you are way too much.
I mean, it's like maybe 8 o'clock, and I'm kind of up, and the phone will ring, and I'm looking. I'm like, if this heifer is full of vim and vigor, and it's like, Trey, good morning, and
Good morning, Trey.
my finger is twitching because I'm like, seriously, seriously, what do you? What are you up to today? I'm like, I'm still trying to wake up. Oh, well, I hope you have a good day anyway. Like, but you can't help but love it. I love your energy, your passion. One of my favoriteest people. And I want to thank you for carving out a little piece of time to take time out with your boy. This has been so much fun. Up, almost forgot.
Oh, what?
How do the people that are watching this fine programming, if they want to look at your socials or go to your website, they may want to, I don't know, hire you perhaps? How do the folks
Ooh.
find you?
Well, if you go to my website is trekinawhite.com. So my name is spelled Trekina, white like the color, com. So trekinawhite.com. My social is Trekina Talks. So you can go to Trekina Talks for Instagram and
Yes,
see a lot. And Trekina does talk. And go to my Instagram, and I post a lot of my work and interact with a lot of people there. I did this thing for the Calm app, and this mom sent me a picture of her baby in a little TP in her PJs, listed to be reading her Jack and the Beanstalk. It was the sweetest
oh,
thing. So if y'all want to interact with me on IG, then go ahead over for Kingdom Talks, and we could talk about it. One thing before we leave, I really want to say is I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh.
me?
You always follow your heart. And you doing this podcast right now is just another part of you sharing the gift of Trey with the world. And I could not leave here today without saying you are amazing. You are incredible. You is kind. You
Oh, here
is
we go.
you is important. But no, I am so proud of you. No, I love you like a brother, and you are amazing. So my hat is off to you. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Me neither. I can't wait to see what I do next. Um, you know, I have been through my own ups and downs. I have witnessed your ups and downs, and like Elton John, we still standing. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And you and I also share another common thread. Certain little animation that I'm working on that
That's right.
that you are my castmate.
Talk about it. Talk about
Yes,
it.
you know, it's so ironic that you play basically an AI character,
Mhm.
and here we are in real time worrying about AI. But
Mhm.
it's crazy. But I have a animation short that I'm working on. Um, it is called The Specialist, and it's dope. At least I think so.
It is so dope. What do I always say about that project? That
Project
project
has
has
favor.
flavor. The world is gonna see that project. That project is so dope, and I like my little animated character. She black and she cute, and she not lacking in the back end. She cute,
Shout out to the animation department to
right?
make sure that she is culturally appropriate.
Right.
But yeah, I remember when the auditions when I sent out the auditions, and a lot of the ladies, it was like I would hear one that would have this, but they were lacking that, or they would have a whole bunch of this thing, but I don't hear the. And I heard your read, and I said, well, I have to listen to it and take friend Trey out of it because now I'm
Mhm.
casting director Trey.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, it came down to you and Andia Winslow.
Oh my God, are you
I am
serious?
so serious. And if I had any strands of hair, and I have never revealed that until today.
You
Uh,
sure did not, because I would have been like, dang, and you picked me.
yeah.
And Diaz, oh,
So it
that
came
girl
down
is
to
so
you two.
amazing.
And I listened and I listened and I listened. I tried to confuse myself, and I had one file on this side of the screen that I just clicked random, and I'm like, all right, without looking at the file name, I'm like, I think that's Trekina. And I don't know how I pulled it off. Oh, I know. I had it in Adobe Audition, and I had both files up, and I'm like, click that one, click that one. And then what I end up doing is I put both auditions on one long file, so they're running back to back now. And I'm like, all right, like that first set of this set, it was hard.
Mm.
Yours
Hard
was
being a director, huh?
yours was probably the hardest. That character was probably the hardest one because I mean, I'm the main character. That ain't nobody getting that. But
I cast me.
ain't nobody getting that. But Miss, which is her name,
Yeah.
Miss, it was hard. And
Yeah.
you know, you, there's this thing online that's a virtual coin flip thingy,
Mhm.
and that's what I had to use
Yeah.
because
That makes it really, really
it
good.
really could have been either or. And I
Yeah.
said that once the show gets some type of traction and funding, that I would bring her back in some capacity because she is dope, and
Yeah, she is.
it'd
She
be
is
good
so
to have
dope.
you both on. Well,
But
listen,
speaking of
yes,
that all our castmates there are amazing. The wonderful, beautiful Rebecca Lee and
yes,
yeah, Octavius
and
and
Torian,
Torian. Oh, I miss Torian. I miss him. He's doing this thing. Because we used to get on the and
yeah,
have our with our wine and our stuff and
yeah, we be on Zoom chats, and those chats will remain where they are, and
yes.
we had a time or two, but
We did. So
I'm
shout out to all of them. They're all like family. Love them,
yes,
miss them. Yeah, but so happy to see them all doing their thing.
they are. Well, once again, um, this is the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, and we have been entertained by the lovely and talented and goofy and
And silly.
silly and relaxed because she's drinking her wine as
Yes, I
you know,
am.
it's getting lower and lower. It's okay. But hey man, she's one of my closest and dearest friends and just good people. And like I said, thanks so much for hopping on. And for you fine folks that are watching, thank y'all for tuning in. And we out. Say bye to the people.
Bye to the people. Bye to the people.
And we out of here. Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.